You already know the weapon. 230 decibels. A biological cannon buried inside the largest skull on Earth. A pressure wave so catastrophic it shorts out the nervous system of a 500-kilogram squid before the whale ever makes physical contact. You know what it does to prey. Here's what nobody asked. What does it do to the whale? The brain of a sperm whale is the largest brain produced by any animal in the history of this planet. 8 kilograms of tissue, dense, soft, sitting a few feet behind the firing mechanism. In any other animal, a 230 decibel shockwave generated from inside the skull would turn that organ into soup. The acoustic pressure alone should cause hemorrhaging. The shear forces should rupture membranes. The inner ears should explode. By every law of physics and biology we know, a sperm whale should be killing itself every single time it hunts. It isn't, and the reason why is one of the most sophisticated biological engineering solutions ever assembled by evolution: the 230 decibel paradox. Let's establish exactly what we're dealing with. Decibels don't scale the way people think. Every 10 decibels is a 10-fold increase in intensity. A 140 decibel gunshot already causes immediate, irreversible hearing damage. A jet engine at 30 feet sits around 150 decibels. The threshold where sound pressure becomes a lethal physical force, where tissue begins to fail, is somewhere around 185 to 200 decibels. A sperm whale's click hits 230. That isn't slightly past the danger threshold. That's so far beyond it that the math stops being intuitive. The acoustic energy released in a single hunting buzz is enough to cause severe shear forces in soft tissue, differential pressure waves that physically tear cell membranes apart. The kind of mechanical trauma that doesn't require contact, doesn't require a bite, doesn't require anything except proximity. The whale's brain sits inches from the source, and the brain isn't the only problem. The inner ear, a structure that evolved for extraordinary sensitivity, designed to detect the faintest echoes returning from 3,000 meters below, is the most fragile acoustic instrument on the planet. You do not put a fragile acoustic instrument next to a cannon and expect it to survive. Not without engineering, not without a solution that shouldn't exist. There are 5 of them. The biological shock absorber. The spermaceti organ holds up to 1,900 liters of waxy oil. For decades, scientists called it a buoyancy organ, then an acoustic lens. Both of those things are true, but there's a third function that took longer to recognize because it doesn't announce itself. It works by not failing. That oil is dense enough and massive enough that when a pressure wave tries to propagate backward, back through the skull toward the brain, it meets a wall of inertia. The spermaceti mass acts as a dampening barrier, not a perfect one, not one that eliminates the force entirely, but one that absorbs enough of the acoustic blowback that what reaches the brain is a fraction of what left the source. Then the skull takes over. A sperm whale's skull is asymmetrical in a way that no other whale on Earth shares. The back portion is shaped like a bowl, a concave parabolic reflector, bone hard, positioned directly behind the spermaceti organ. When sound fires forward through the oil and out the front of the head, any rearward scatter hits that bowl and gets redirected, not into the brain cavity, forward, back into the beam. It isn't just a weapon, it's a weapon with its own blast shield built into the architecture. The same structure that makes the sound more powerful is simultaneously preventing that power from traveling the wrong direction. That's not an accident. That's 30 million years of selection pressure carving a skull into something that shouldn't be possible. The acoustic isolation chamber. Every mammal has ear bones fused to its skull. Yours are, a dog's are, and orcas are. This is standard mammalian design. The skull conducts vibration directly into the inner ear, which is how bone conduction hearing works. It's efficient. It evolved because for most animals, the ears and the skull experiencing the same vibration at the same time is not a problem. For a sperm whale, it would be fatal. So the inner ear complex, the tympano-parietic complex, the dense bony capsule containing the most sensitive acoustic structures in the animal's body, is not fused to the skull. It hangs, suspended outside the main cranial structure by a network of ligaments and something researchers describe as acoustic foam, a specialized mucus emulsion that exists nowhere else in biology. When the skull vibrates at 230 decibels, the ear is decoupled from it. The ligaments absorb the motion. The foam dissipates the frequency. What the inner ear experiences is not what the skull is experiencing. The whale's own hearing is acoustically isolated from its own skull during a blast. Think about what had to happen for this to exist. Every ancestor that didn't have this adaptation fired its weapon and damaged its hearing, hunted less effectively, starved at a slightly higher rate. Over millions of generations, the animals with even marginally better suspension survived marginally better, reproduced marginally more, and the trait compounded until what remained was an inner ear floating in specialized foam connected to the skull with the elastic ligaments, insulated from the loudest biological sound ever produced. The ear isn't just protected, it's protected by a system that exists for no other reason than this exact problem. The safe zone geometry. The sound does not travel in all directions. This is the part that turns an engineering problem into an engineering solution. Sperm whales don't generate an omnidirectional explosion, they generate a directed beam. And the geometry of that beam is the reason the whale survives its own attack. Sound originates at the monkey lips, the phonic lips, a pair of dense tissue structures at the front of the nasal passage. It fires backward through the spermaceti oil. It hits the concave skull reflector. It bounces forward. By the time it exits the front of the head, it's a focused, directed, forward-pointing beam of acoustic energy. The brain and vital organs are behind the cannon, in the acoustic shadow. The catastrophic pressure wave exists in front of the whale, extending outward into the water column, not inside the skull, not behind the firing mechanism. The geometry of the system means that the deadliest zone, the zone where 230 decibels translates to structural tissue failure, is exactly where the prey is and exactly where the whale's body isn't. It's a rifle, not a grenade, and the whale is holding it from the right end. Except the whale doesn't hold it, the whale is it. Which means evolution didn't just develop a weapon, it developed a body plan where the animal and the weapon are the same structure, oriented so the lethal end always points away from the animal's brain. The friendly fire solution. Sperm whales hunt together. Pods, coordinated. Multiple animals working the same prey field simultaneously, their clicks overlapping, their buzzes converging on the same squid population. If one 230 decibel click can incapacitate a giant squid, a coordinated burst from multiple animals should be catastrophic for anything in the water, including each other. Except it isn't. Sperm whales do not accidentally stun their pod members. They've been hunting in groups for millions of years, without the weapon that makes them apex predators becoming a weapon that ends their own gene lines. The solution isn't anatomical this time, it's cognitive and behavioral. They modulate. Sperm whales possess extraordinary real-time control over the intensity and frequency of their clicks. The same organ that produces a hunting buzz, capable of destroying squid tissue, can be dialed back to an exploratory click that a diver describes as a chest thump. The whale knows the difference between a pod member and prey. It knows how close those pod members are. It adjusts the output accordingly. Spatial awareness, acoustic frequency control, and intensity modulation working in concert in real time during a hunt. not instinctively avoiding the sound entirely, using it precisely. The friendly fire problem isn't solved by silence, it's solved by marksmanship. This is the part that should stop you cold. Every layer of protection we've described, the spermaceti dampening mass, the parabolic skull reflector, the suspended inner ear, the directional beam geometry, the behavioral intensity control, none of it evolved independently. Each adaptation is useless without the others. A directional beam without a blast shield still damages the brain. An isolated inner ear without geometric shadow protection still ruptures under 230 decibels at point-blank range. The system only works because all 5 pieces exist simultaneously.
Evolution doesn't plan, it selects. Which means somewhere in the fossil record, there's a lineage of proto-sperm whales that were getting closer and closer to this weapon, each generation slightly louder, each generation requiring slightly more protection, each generation where the animals that survived were the ones whose biology happened to solve one more piece of the puzzle. Tens of millions of years of an arms race between the whale's offensive capability and the whale's need to not be destroyed by its own offensive capability. The result is an animal that carries a 230 decibel weapon inside its skull, hunts the most dangerous invertebrate in the ocean, coordinates attacks with pod members, controls the output with surgical precision, and walks away from every hunt without so much as a ruptured eardrum. The squid doesn't get that courtesy. 3,000 meters down, in total darkness, a sperm whale locks a giant squid in its acoustic targeting system. The squid's hooks are irrelevant. Its speed is irrelevant. Its intelligence is irrelevant. The whale isn't coming in for a fight, it's aiming. The buzz starts, the pressure wave hits, and somewhere in the dark, another set of squid beaks joins the collection in the whale's stomach. Unbitten, undamaged, just quiet. The cannon fires, the cannon survives, the prey does not. That's not biology. That's physics being weaponized by 30 million years of ruthless, merciless refinement. And somewhere, right now, in water so deep it has no name, it's happening again. But while the sperm whale weaponizes sound to hunt in total darkness, another deep-sea monster weaponizes the darkness itself. To see how the anglerfish uses a glowing biological death trap to lure prey into the abyss, click the video on screen right now. I'll see you there.